Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Roll the Tape, and we're here today talking about the film Inside the Yellow Cocoon Shell. This film has popped up on my social media, mainly because it had won at Cannes last year, 2023, and it won the Camera d'Or. The Camera d'Or is the golden Camera Award, I believe that's what it translates to. But basically what the Camera d'Or is, it is the award given to the best first feature film. And Inside the Yellow Cocoon Shell had won it at the 2023 Cannes Film Festival. The film is directed by, let me double check this, just because I want to make sure I get the name somewhat right. I don't speak Vietnamese, so please excuse my pronunciation on this. But it is a film directed by and written by Pham Thien An. And it is one of the most beautifully technical films I've ever watched. Like everything from the cinematography to the sound design to the sound mixing to the production design to the costume design to the editing and the lighting design. It's just very, very well done. The directing, the writing, the acting. There's so many things about this film that are just so beautiful. It is a little bit of a long film. It runs over 2 hours, in between the range of like 2 to 3 hours. So it is a little bit of a long film, but if you do decide to watch it, it is 100% worth the watch. It is such a beautiful film that takes you through the process of grief and takes you through the process of finding or trying to find or understand faith and what faith is to an individual. And it takes you through the lens of the main character and how he explores this journey for faith and how he is exploring faith through the people he runs into in his life. And it's a very abstract story, very artistic. So when you're following it, it's not like a plot from like point A to point B. The story format of it is more of a slice of life. That's how I would describe it, and a character study in a way. But it is definitely a beautiful film to watch, and I love how it sits in a lot of these moments where there is just the ambient sound, right? And it leaves you after like a point of dialogue. It just leaves you there to kind of think and feel the area, feel the room, feel the weight of the scenery and the environment, and just kind of meditate on what was said in the last conversation between the characters that were in the previous scene. There are different ways that this character searches for that faith, whether it's through their own hobbies, whether it's through people that they've loved romantically, whether it's through family members, whether it's through death and grief, whether it's through religion, and whether it's through like elders or younger people. Like there's so many different types of avenues that this character tries to explore faith, and the whole film overall has this kind of like oddly numb tone to it, which is strange, but it works really well because it kind of like allows the audience to feel that feeling of what this main character is feeling. It's kind of like a 4D, 5D experience where we as the audience are trying to understand what this character is going through, right? And what they're going through is trying to find faith, but they don't understand or they don't know what it is. And because of that numb tone that is there and present throughout the film, it's kind of personifying what he is feeling as he's going through this process. So it's a very cool way of doing that, and a very artistic and unique way that this film decides to pursue this type of storytelling. So I think that that's really cool. One of the things that really amazed me about this film was the acting. One of my favorite actors was this actor that plays the nephew of the main lead. And there's just something about how real his acting feels, as well as a lot of the other actors. Everything just feels very raw and real. And I don't know who is a trained actor and who's not a trained actor, but the kid was, the person that played the nephew was just living in every single moment, whether they were saying lines or whether they were just on camera for a second or something like that. Like, they were just living in every single moment, and it just felt so real. Like, there are moments when the main lead and the nephew are there together, and I kind of felt like I was watching a documentary in a way. And that's just like a very cool thing to see in a film. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Chloe Zhao's work, because her work feels like documentary work, even though they are like written narratives. So it kind of has that feel and aesthetic to a way, but it's still very, very different. One of the other things that amazed me in this film, other than the acting, was the sound design and the sound mixing. The audio that was captured through the sound mixing was just so clean, and there were so many different types of layerings to the sound design of everything. And I think the combination of getting really clean audio for, like, example, the wind, the rain, the bristles of trees, the creaks in a window pane, and like the sounds of rain falling, the sounds of vehicles moving, or like chatter in the streets, like all of these different types of things that was captured through the sound mixing was beautiful, and very high quality. And whoever sound designed it afterwards in post-production did a great job of sound designing and layering all of these sounds that were captured from the sound mixer. That like blew my mind, because I felt like I could feel all five senses while I was watching this movie because of the sound. And also, like, visually, the cinematography was beautiful. And I think the combination of having a very beautiful type of cinematography with great lighting combined with beautiful sound mixing and sound designing just helps you feel like you are there in the room, just sitting with these people and having conversations with them and watching them. So it is really cool. Yeah, like there's a scene where you can hear like the liquid sounds so vividly, and it just was pretty much just silence. There's not that much dialogue happening there, but because of you hearing kind of like this liquid moving and things like that, it felt like I was in the room with them, which was so beautiful. And there were a lot of moments in this film, like I had said earlier, that you just sit in the moment after a dialogue is happening. And when you're sitting in that moment and you're just listening to the sounds of the windows and the sounds of the wind and the sounds of the rain and the sounds of the chatter, you can just see it. Whether or not your eyes are open or not, you can see it all. And I thought that was just so beautiful. One of the other things that I thought was really cool about this film was the cinematography as well. The cinematography is extremely well done and extremely unique in a way. It reminded me a lot of older types of films because it's not shoving images in your face. There's a lot of long shots that are there that are just sitting there, just like single shots that are just sitting there for a long period of time. I'm not exactly sure how many frames are in this film, but I was trying to count it as I was watching it, but obviously I lost track because I got I was just very involved in the movie. But I want to say, like, personally, I think maybe like the amount of frames that are in this film is somewhere in between like maybe like 60 and 100 for an almost 3-hour film, which blows my mind. But because usually like you are seeing images like every like 3 to 5 seconds in a film, like especially action films and things like that, like Marvel films, like they're shoving images in your face, and that's kind of become the format of modern cinema because of the attention spans being so small now. But this film really sits in a lot of these long time shots, right? And you're mainly sitting in one frame pretty much the whole time in this movie, but it changes from time to time. But basically you have this kind of like medium wide framing, and you have these long shots seeing all these characters interacting, like whether it's at like a bar or a restaurant, whether it's in a village, whether it's at a church, excuse me, whether it is at like the funeral, whether it is at, I don't know, in a living room. There are so many really cool types of long shots that they have there that just stick in this medium wide framing. And I believe I had timed it where the first 20 minutes of the film, I believe, are all shot in this medium wide frame. Nothing changes, and it's very flat, which is so interesting. There are still dimensions with a foreground and a background, but like it is all kind of like flat in a way where it feels like you are sitting there just like sitting there like this, just like watching everything. Like that's what it feels like when I was watching the film. I felt like I was just like sitting there just seeing everything like firsthand. So I thought that was a really cool thing about the cinematography of the film. It's like it invited you to watch everything happen. And I wonder too if the reason why they use some of these frames is because of maybe where some of the film locations that they had. So that could possibly have led into the reason why some of the cinematography, especially when it takes place in the city of Saigon, there's a lot of tight spaces there. So I wonder if just because of the limited space, they had to stick with this frame. But they did so in such a beautiful way. And the tracking shots were just so beautiful. There were a lot of long tracking shots in this film where somebody is moving from like place to place and there's no cuts. That's why this film is probably 60 to 100 frames only for like almost a 3-hour movie, because there's a lot of these long shots basically following people moving from one location to another location, these people having their dialogues and stuff. So yeah, it's really cool. I loved it. The production design is amazing. Like a lot of things just feel very natural, very lived in. The churches, the bedrooms, the cities, the office spaces, the hospitals, like everything just feels very real and lived in. And I wonder if it's because like possibly most of those places are already kind of like that, but you know, things with the production design was just used to enhance that feeling. So that was really cool. And I remember one of the production design things I really loved, and this was probably done on purpose, was like, since this is a movie about faith, and I come from a Catholic religion, and one of the religions that's brought into this film is the Catholic religion. And there's this framing of a scene where you see like a little picture of Jesus, and there's a light kind of like on the side, like a little candlelight on the side, right? And when it's lit, in the reflection of the glass that is the picture frame of Jesus, when you light that candle, the light reflects right on like Jesus's heart. And I wonder if that was done on purpose to like enhance this image of the sacred flame and the Holy Spirit and things like that. So that was a very interestingly designed shot, and I personally believe that that was done on purpose with the production design and the cinematography. So I don't know if that's for real, but that's what I think, in my honest opinion. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool things about this film, and I could talk about it for days and hours, and you know, I wish I could break it down for y'all with more clips, but I think y'all just have to see it for yourself, in all honesty, and go check it out. It's only being shown in limited theaters, so hopefully they will have a digital release and get digital distribution so that you can see it on some sort of streaming platforms or something like that, because it is an amazing film that I think a lot of people should watch. And it's a really cool type of like reflection piece on just faith and, you know, trying to find what that means to you. So yeah, I would recommend to check it out. So go check out Inside the Yellow Cocoon Shell if you can. It's showing in theaters here in Southern California for a limited amount of time, and only limited theaters. I believe the only theaters it's showing at is the Los Feliz up in Hollywood and the Westminster Regency, I believe. I think it's the Regency, Westminster Regency, down in Westminster, in Orange County. I believe that those are the only 2 theaters showing this film. I watched it at the Westminster Regency, and I believe it's also showing in New York. So if you're in New York, you know, and you have a chance to check it out in New York, go ahead and check it out. Hopefully it's showing at other theaters throughout the United States, and if you can check it out, or like throughout the world, I don't know where you're watching from, but go ahead and check it out because it is a beautiful film. Cool, that's it for me. So I really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. It would mean the world to me. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Peace. Also, I keep looking this way. I got a new camera. This is a Sony FX3, and the what's it called? The framing thing, whatever. The viewfinder. This thing, right? Like, I used to film on the Sony a6400 and it goes up, but this one only goes to the side. So I'm kind of like looking to the side here. My eye line is kind of off. So I'm gonna need to learn how to talk to the Sony FX3. Feels a little awkward. So cool. Alrighty, y'all. Well, that's it for me. That was a weird aside. But thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.